Um, well, first of all, for anybody who sees this video and anybody who listens to what's in it, part of what the purpose of this is to put out there something to counterbalance anything that may or may not occur as a result of this 2012 time period that we are in. And what we're trying to counterbalance is the fear of things that may or may not happen, and just try to provide some sort of comfort or understanding to anybody who might have a lot of questions about whatever is may or may not happen.
Yeah.
So in this first video, we want to address this phenomenon of what I want to say, like cultivating an attitude of fear. And I know we see it a lot in movies, everywhere we look, basically. But we want to put out something that counteracts it. It breaks this whole time period down in a way that makes it easier for us to understand it. And so the main topic of this video is that fear, or anything that we feel fear towards or are afraid of, must be dealt with and confronted in order for this 2012 time period to be most beneficial for us individually as well as mankind as a whole.
So I guess one of my thoughts is like, maybe we should also kind of go into like, why is this issue of fear something that we see as being so significant right now? Like, why? Let's deal with like the why of why is it rising now? Why does it seem to affect people so much? And begin there, and then move on to what we feel as a means of what we feel is a means of short-circuiting that fear, or changing its purpose to redirect that energy. You know, because like you mentioned, like one thing that we see is this. It seems to me as though like the media, our families, our cultural environments, and political kind of structures seem to always really use that fear against us. It's always like, you need to do this, or unless this happens, or you know. Have you noticed how many horror movies are coming out lately?
Yeah.
Like, dude, every time I cut the TV on, every week I see like a new horror movie, and that's not an exaggeration. And I'm just like, what is it that is causing this big saturation or influx of fear to be entered into the earth and grab at man? Why do you think that's going on?
I think one of the reasons that we're being saturated in this is because it's like we're being prepared on a subconscious level to react in that way to whatever's going to happen in the next couple years or so. Okay. Or whatever changes happen, or even if nothing happens, if that type of attitude is cultivated, it's still easier for anyone trying to manipulate a group of people to do that.
Right. I feel that. So you think it's kind of happening to shut down our ability to adapt to who we are in the world that we live in. I feel you on that. Yeah, I can feel that, man, because I know that both me and you have seen this. The whole world has seen this, like the outbreak of the swine flu. That's like, to me, I consider the swine flu like one of the plagues. Like one of the plagues of Egypt, so to speak, because it was something that affected the world. And I remember on the news how the people in Mexico, people in Japan, people, you know what I mean, were wearing a mask everywhere, and they were pumping the whole thing of getting your shot. There were jobs where some people had to do it, and there was even a fear about getting a vaccine and all of that. And I can see how, in a way, a lot of that served to short circuit our ability to sense and feel what might have been going on behind the scenes, or how we should have interacted with it. And instead of us sensing and feeling what it really meant and how we were to actually proactively act towards it, what I saw was a big blanketing effect of people reacting to an external stimuli. So in a sense, their internal response, their intuition, or their internal thinking or sensing about the situation was shut down, and they became just reactionary. So I can definitely see what you mean as far as it shutting down people's ability, just like the financial crisis. It seems like there's just been a series of external stimuli that have been coming through the news, coming, you know, on different levels to cause people to be reactionary rather than knowing how to act from within and out into their situations.
And I think it's very important that we confront that sort of reactionary reflex action. Because when we react out of fear, we surrender our creative abilities to use that moment for whatever may best benefit us as individuals or humanity. So I think one of the things that 2012 is about is collectively being able to manifest whatever it is we choose to. And I think if we react out of fear on a collective level, then we surrender that ability, our creative ability to manifest something positive. We surrender it to
manifest disconnection and to manifest lifelessness, or to manifest ourselves being enslaved to external stimuli. Something crucial you were saying, like you were talking about how we either can surrender our creative ability to external forces out of a sense of being disconnected, or we can actually act out of that creativity to kind of like create the world that lives within us based on the creativity. And that's funny because I was just listening to that word creativity, and creativity is linked to the word creator. So it's just like I kind of see that connection in there, that when we're acting out of our innate creativity, and creativity is something that creates something that has not been created before. So it kind of like builds within me that the way we react to these situations is how we either surrender or enslave the creator in us to projected images of disconnection, or we either utilize the creativity of the creator in us to build the world around. So it's really like, it's like what we're saying is like we determine what we're going to reflect back out into the world based on how we either confront or how we avoid our reaction to certain things. So we really are the creator reacting to certain things, and we're either the creator bringing life with it, or we're diminishing that creator inside of us. And we actually have the choice of how to do that, which one we want to choose. But I'm just wondering something else here. Do you think the fear comes in order to give us an opportunity to utilize, to awaken the creator within, awaken the creativity? Absolutely.
And in fact, that's sort of the unseen positive aspect of all this fear that we're being saturated in. So depending on how we use it, it can be a great catalyst for awakening that creative potential in us. And so really that means we just have to, rather than react out of fear subconsciously, we have to confront what we are afraid of and then transform or transmute that energy so we can make it work for us rather than become a slave to it.
Yo, let's talk about what's the source of this fear, or what's the source of why we perceive these situations as fear. You know what I mean? Because like an external situation, a financial crisis, a disease outbreak, and you know, we're gonna have to build on Haiti during this conversation at some point. But all of these are situations, but the way we respond to it, or the reason that fear exists, has to be based on something within us, because we're the perceiver